spread dangerous diseases hide in tall grasses and even on your pets. Rodents easily invade your home, contaminate food, and can carry more than 35 diseases. Mosquitoes which breed in standing water transmit many diseases. Get the facts you need to protect your family at pestworld.org. It's that easy. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe.
You gotta fight!
ESPN Northwest
Welcome
Florida.
to the house. It's time for the Afternoon Underdogs.
It's happening.
Wow.
It's on right now.
Opinionated and unfiltered. The hot takes, the rants, and the sports talk you crave.
Give it to me.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Northwest Florida? You are now in the doghouse riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on 104.3 here in Panama City and 101.9, the Forgotten Coast of Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with Tyler Bishop, and we've got a special guest in with us today from 4 to 5, right? All right, we've got Elliot Bradshaw, who was a walk-on 2022 for UAB, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right, playing center for them as well. We're going to have, take our third segment today. We'll play a little trivia to open that up, and we'll learn more about Elliot and kind of like the life of a college football player, what it's like to be a walk-on, going to the Bahamas to play in a bowl game. So we got a lot
of worse place to go to a bowl game. No,
There's no doubt about that. You guys can give us a call or text throughout the show today at 850-215-6290. If you've got any questions or any thoughts for Elliot, we'd love to hear him, so you can call in. We've got 2 phone lines, so we can have some battling phone calls, make it feel like the Paul Feinbaum show or something like that. 850-215-6290. We will not be playing the Blast at Bay Point today because Drew Gerhardt called in earlier today and he got the number. The number we were looking for when Ryan played at Bay Point over the weekend was 72. He shot even par there. And that was the number. So we will pick it up again next Monday. And all we're doing here is you got to listen weekdays, 8:40 a.m., 12:40 in the afternoon, and 5:40 in the afternoon. When you hear the cue to call, be caller number 10 at 850-215-6290. If you get the right number, you and a guest win a round of 18 at the Nicholas Course there at Bay Point. And if you don't, you're going to be getting a large bucket of range balls, which is still a great consolation prize. The more you listen, the better your chance of guessing the right number in high-low. We're going to have a new number this coming Monday. I don't think it's going to be a golf score, but who knows what it's going to be. So make sure that you are listening to all 3 local shows here on ESPN Northwest Florida. And also, if you're not friends with me on Facebook, go add me, David Hayes, and then scroll down my page. It's probably the 3rd or the 4th post down to the Goat of Goats sports movies and make your votes for round 2 in our Goat of Goats for the sports movies. We'll be announcing the results tomorrow when we're at Dave & Buster's in the 420 segment, and we'll get you ready for the Sweet 16 matchup. It's going to be very interesting. I actually haven't even looked at some of the results, so we'll be maybe I'll do that and we'll tease it a little bit for hour number 2. And we'd love to see you out there tomorrow at Dave & Buster's. Hey, you got half-price games all day long on Wednesday afternoons. And then happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m., which is half-price cocktails. The Men's College World Series ended last night with a dominating win from the LSU Tigers, winning 18-4. I picked LSU to win, and I wanted to see a Game 3, but I also said that it was going to be under the 9.5 run total last night, and LSU took care of that themselves for their 7th title in program history. They've now won 7 natties, which breaks a tie with Texas for second most in D1 history. USC's got them by 5 there with 12, and LSU in those finals are 7-1. Their only loss was to Florida back just 6 years ago in 2017. LSU racked up 24 hits, which tied a record with Florida, who set theirs on Sunday in that 24-4 win. LSU is the first team to score 10-plus runs in a Men's College World Series championship game. This isn't a finals game, not meaning game 1 or game 2, but the end-all, be-all game for the Men's College World Series. They tied with themselves. They did that back in 2009, where they beat Texas 11-4. I think the most cool statistic from all of this is that they had 68,888 Jello shots, which is a 3-year record running now, where Mississippi State set the record in 2021, and they won the national championship, or the World Series after that. Then Ole Miss followed suit in 2022. They had 18 something thousand shots, Jello shots there. They won the national championship, and then this year LSU just broke the record by almost 50,000 Jello shots, 68,888. My question is, how many of these were actually consumed? I know the answer, all of them.
I mean, it's LSU. Can you imagine the bar trying to prepare 70,000 Jello shots for just LSU, not including all the other thousands bought by the rest of the teams? Like,
right.
That just seems like so much more effort than it's worth. But I mean, I guess at $5 a pop, that's a nice little payday for the restaurant, because they ain't costing $5 a shot.
Not only that, but they were donating some of the proceeds to food banks for each of the schools, and then a local food bank there as well. So yeah, I mean, it's great stuff, but just 5 times 68,000 makes me want to go up there and start my own little type of shop business up there. You know what I mean? So next year I'll be in Omaha, and we'll do the show from there while I'm trying to make me $100,000 or so.
I'd love to see the stat. That's, what was it, 24-4 on the game 2, and 18-4. That's got to be one of the biggest point differential swings in a game 2, game 3. I mean, that's just 2 dominating victories going completely opposite.
I thought I had a number on their run differential there, because they did get back to even. I think that they were being outscored throughout the totality of the tournament to this point, and then with that 18-4, I think once they got to 9 runs, maybe in the 3rd or the 4th inning, they kind of evened up from there and then went on and did even better. I mean, you look to the MLB, I know what Max knows what I'm about to bring up with the Angels, who blew out the Rockies 25-1 in game 2 of the series, but they still lost the other 2 games to the Rockies, game 1 and game 3, and losing the series there. But they did get a little bounce back win last night against a good pitch, good performance from Dylan Cease and the Chicago White Sox. But man,
they've been a letdown, though.
Well, they've been a letdown, no doubt. But, I mean, the way that the Angels won that game last night without even no one getting a hit, that's insane. Second time this year that the Angels have walked off a ball game via a hit batter, walk, or a pass ball. That's just absolutely insane. What's going on with you, Max?
Not much, man. Underwhelming.
You look like you're vacationing or something.
I know,
right now, bro. Like
I was hoping someone moved today, so I was working from home. And,
gotcha. I like that.
Trying to fit in with the tourists.
There you go, man. You're doing a heck of a job with that. Dylan Cruz went 4 for 6 with a trip and 3 runs and 1 ribby. My question to you then, Max, and of course we're going to get into your minute with Max here in the following segment. But do you like Cruz at 1, 2, or 3? What MLB draft wise? Where does Cruz 1?
1, yeah. I mean,
Skeens doesn't do it for you, Wyatt Langford.
You're really gambling taking a college pitcher at the first pick. A lot of college pitchers, even though they're this dominant, don't pan out. You know, you look at Kumar Rocker, Jack Leiter, they've both been total busts so far.
Yeah, and they were supposed to be big dogs.
The next, big thing. But Cruz is just so dominant. He's a 5-tool player. He's fast as heck. Scored from first yesterday, even when they were up. I mean, it was 16, 15-4 at the time, and scoring from first on a bloop left field single. He's insane.
I mean, to get on base throughout every game of a collegiate season, which is 70 games for him. I mean, that's absolutely
and he hit,
asinine.
428 or something?
He had to finish up. He went into that game last night hitting 421.
Yeah.
So, he's, I mean, going, what was it?
4 for 6.
4 for 6, yeah. So, I mean, I'd imagine he's close there to 430.
Is drafting a pitcher like the MLB draft, that's the equivalent of drafting a quarterback? Like, it's such a crapshoot, you don't really know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a crazy hit.
I think it's a big difference, though, honestly, because with the NFL and you're going for a quarterback, you're looking for the leader of your team, but you only have one.
Yeah. But I guess pitcher's more of a
right. With pitchers, you only got 5 starting pitchers essentially, but then you've got the rest of your affiliates that you got to fill out as well. It's man. I don't know if there's a position that you could really.
Yeah, that's a hard one to make an analogy for.
Yeah, I was trying to put it something I could comprehend that.
No, absolutely. But now it's just got my brain racking because I'm trying to think of a position that you would compare to.
I don't know if there is one. Yeah.
No, I think you gotta go to a whole nother sport, like goalie for hockey or something like that. No, but that's definitely interesting. So, and I like the point though too, especially with Kamar Rocker and Jack Leiter were supposed to be big deals.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's hard to put your finger. I mean, who was the last prospect that's really done what they were hyped up to be? I think one guy that I know you're high on, and has he lived up to the expectations early on, Grayson Rodriguez?
No, and he hasn't yet.
Right.
I'd say Taj Bradley now.
Taj Bradley with Tampa Bay, and he's playing. He's pitching tonight. The Rays got a good one.
Against Gallen.
Yeah, there you go with the Diamondbacks. Yeah,
Gavin Williams, who just came up for the Indians or Guardians too, he's a good talent. But there hasn't really been anyone. Bobby Miller with George Kirby with the Mariners.
Okay.
Bobby Miller with the Dodgers this year.
Yeah.
Because Strider was kind of under the radar until he came up.
Yeah, he never had the...
He's dialed back in now ever since our bet.
Yeah, we haven't even... We were supposed to have 2 more legs to figure out if I'm going to be getting the hat. I know, man. That's on me. I'll look up some propers here in the here in the break, and we'll see what we can put together, because I'm looking forward to a new Atlanta Braves hat, man. I wore this one for the first time in quite a long time. I think I wore it to a softball game this year, but outside of that, man, this thing's like over a decade old.
It's a quality logo, though.
A quality logo. I do miss them wearing these hats on a more frequent basis. LSU becomes the first Division I school to win a baseball and basketball men or women's national championship in the same year, which brings me to my last and final point about the Men's College World Series. It's not even really a point, just more of a fact here, and something I do not want to see. So Kim Mulkey, she won the national championship in her second year this year with the LSU Tigers. Jay Johnson was in his second year. They win the College World Series. Brian Kelly is in his second year with the LSU Tigers. I just hope.
I don't think so, and I sure hope that doesn't happen.
I'm telling you what, but you just never know.
Yeah. I mean, that second year with college football coaches, like if they're truly great coaches, which I think Kelly's proven to be a great coach, even he's a kind of a terrible person.
He's a horrible person.
They make those jumps. So, I mean, I'm not saying I'm betting on LSU because they've got quite a monster there on both sides of their conference. They got to get through to even start thinking about that. But, I mean, never say never. I mean, Louisiana puts out crazy talent. I mean, their last 3 head coaches have won national titles. So, I mean, it's not the most outrageous thing in the world.
And it won't be a terrible start when they beat FSU week 1.
Yeah.
Are we starting
in Orlando? Barrett, you listening?
Oh, here we go. Elliot, who's your college football team outside of UAB? Like, did you grow up rooting for UAB?
I did not. I grown up in Alabama, so I was always a pretty big Roll Tide fan.
Alabama Roll Tide.
It's hard not to. My mom went to Auburn, so it's kind of like
y'all got a little house divided.
Yeah,
thing
something
going
like
on.
that. Yes, sir, yeah. But I mean, I know good football when I see it. So
absolutely.
I mean, Auburn had its years for sure, but overall, I would pull for Alabama.
The last 17, 18 years, it's been hard not to be a fan of Alabama if you're in Alabama, that's for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. So me and Elliot are going to be getting along just fine throughout the remainder of this show today. Reminder, we're on the radio here, 104.3 FM in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. We're also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, all at ESPN Northwest Florida. And you can get the app. Just go to your Google Play Store, your Apple App Store, type in 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Max, what do you think about Connor McDavid winning the 3rd Hart Trophy?
Deserved.
Yeah.
Not a doubt, I think.
Not a doubt. I feel that.
What he did this year.
Regular season-wise, I mean, and that's what the Hart Trophy is for. The Hart Trophy is the MVP for the NHL season. He's the 5th player to take home the award 3 times within his first 8 seasons, joining Gretzky, Bobby Clark, Bobby Orr, and Alexander Ovechkin.
They don't call call him McJesus for nothing.
That is true.
Is that saying Gretzky won it 8 times in 8 years? His first 8 years? Is that what
That's what that means.
He won
yes.
it 8. Okay.
Right. I'm pretty sure. I mean, the way that this is,
the way the stats,
the way it's worded, I would have to say that. I didn't go back and check because it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Gretzky was.
Well, I mean, I know it's like the undisputed GOAT. So I was just curious. That's incredible.
For me, when you talk about team sports, I just can't put anyone above Wayne Gretzky as far as like what he did for the sport, what he did for his own legacy, and just, man, had he stayed with Edmonton, you talk about, he would have had the full gambit. Everything that you would want from a hockey player, Wayne Gretzky. I mean, it's still, take away all his goals, and he's still the points leader with just his assists. So for me, when it comes down to team sports, there's no one better than Wayne Gretzky. I mean, Tom Brady, what he's done is absolutely impressive, but those records will be broken. Majority of Tom Brady's records will be broken.
I'll take Messi.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, the longevity with which he played at such a high level is going to be hard to match long term.
I agree with that, but I think medicine's getting better. Right? Concussions are getting better. They're throwing the ball way more.
QB protection.
I mean, there's so many things
Can't tap the quarterback.
Yeah. I got you. So I don't. Yeah, for me, it's.
I like it. I'm not saying it's a bad. It's just like, man, that's saying something because there's such high numbers that people are gonna have to hit. Like,
right. They are high, but also Drew Brees broke the records, right? Then Tom Brady starts. You see what I'm saying? Like, whereas in the NHL, no one's came close. It's like Ricky Henderson and his stolen bases. Well, now there's a path for that record to be touched. Will it?
Is there?
Because of the rules adjusting for stolen bases. But the Atlanta Braves have like 61 stolen bases as a team. Ronnie's got 31 of them. Yeah. You see, like, there's certain guys. Oh, no, I'm not taking anything away from Ricky. And
imagine with these rules.
If they do, exactly. If they do break it, there's still got to be the asterisk beside it, right? Because, I mean, what Ricky
can't throw to first as much now.
Right. And
pitchers rush.
Here's the thing. In 3 or 4 years, it's going to go from having the 3 options of disengagement, or not options, but you've got 3 disengagements, to just 1. And at that point, they go over 1 time, and now it's a green light for you to go. And so for me, I do think that, and the bases are bigger now. The pitch clock does not help the pitcher when it comes to stealing bases. And Ronald Acuna's stealing third base sometimes without the pitcher even addressing home plate. It's wild. So, I think that record could be touched. I don't think that it's I think before these rule changes were implemented, that was an untouchable record. For anyone to ever get to the career goals of Gretzky, I mean, look at Ovechkin, who's had like one of the best careers out there as far as a scorer goes, and he's still, 90 goals off of Gretzky there.
What's the average season for him? Like, I'm trying to put in perspective. Like, if he's 90 goals off, is that 2 seasons, 3 seasons?
Well, he's old now. For him, he needs to average 30 goals for the next 3 years.
Well, I mean, I guess no. What's his average in his prime? Was it 30 goals?
No, about anywhere from 40 to 60.
Okay, I didn't know what a good season for a hockey score. That's more what I was curious about.
I mean, in his prime, he was scoring like 75 a game.
Right.
Okay. Year. So, I mean, that's not.
You think he can get it done, Max?
Ovechkin?
Yeah. Like, just goal-wise.
Oh, no.
No.
It's sad. He's starting to slow down a little bit. I think if anyone's going to get it, it's going to be McDavid.
Yeah, that's a great point there. In the next segment, I kind of want to take a look at the All-Star Game voting, Max, and just see if you think that the public is getting it right at this point in time. Ellie De La Cruz is continuing to impress people right now, and he just won National League Player of the Week. Did you watch any of that Reds-Braves series, or were you stuck in London watching the Cubs and the Cardinals?
No, I was watching it. It's really cool for the Reds. I mean, man, what a player! In 15th game in, hit for the cycle.
He's I can't even do that in the show, man. Seriously, I've literally turned down the level just to try to get some Ellie numbers. No, I've gotten the cycle before, but not in my road to the show career though.
Gotcha.
Actually, so
and he had the highest homer of the year too so far. Ellie did.
Yeah,
like
I
at
didn't know
its
that.
apex, it was at 143 feet.
Wow, because Shohei hit a tower last night as well.
He did.
And he's
26
leading,
homers
back
now.
to 26. He's leading, tied over there with Olsen, or was tied yesterday with Olsen. So Matt Olsen needs to get him one more. Oh, here's another one I can ask you before we get to a break. The Braves are at 141 home runs as a team. The Twins hold the record back in 2019. They hit 307 home runs. Do you think that the Braves could catch the Twins at 307?
Yeah, I'd say it's doable, especially with the new rules too. Like what we were saying, like everything's been sped up and the offenses are better. So
I wish they would give us a sample of each ball that was used in every season since like 1975.
And it stinks, especially for like the past decade. It's just a known thing that the MLB manipulates the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
But no one can really.
It's like, what's the name of the newest baseball that you guys are using? They got the, enhanced grip ball or whatever at AAA, which I was just dumbfounded to find out about. Like, what are we doing here,
Roberts? The NBA tried implementing that ball with the wrinkles on it? I hated that ball.
Yeah, I never used one, but I know that the players did not like it.
No, it's so dumb.
I just think that the NBA needs to go to the money balls, the red, white, and blue.
Or Wilson Evolutions.
There you go. Wilson Evolutions. You know what's so funny is the other day we were when we were doing the show out at Dave & Buster's, Kyle's little brother went to one of the stores out there and came back with a Wilson Evolution. Yeah, it was like a $90 basketball. I'm like, I bet you can't wait to get out there, on a concrete court and play with that thing, can you? Ruin that right up. That's what I used to do with autographed baseballs from Chipper Jones for some reason as a young kid. Would just go outside to play with them, man. This will make me like Chipper. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to take a quick timeout, and we'll be right back with your Mortgage Minute with Max.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the Blasted Bay Point.
What was my 18-hole round of golf score from over the weekend?
Who kept score? Started off at 88.
88.
I'm going to say 74.
Keep listening to win the Blasted Bay Point
I tell you what, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to love it.
on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Tuesday's weather. The rest of the day, there will be a moderate breeze out of the west-southwest, mostly sunshine at 89. Mostly clear skies tonight, slightly cooler at 79, and a wind coming out of the west around 6 miles per hour. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and a light breeze right around 6 miles per hour with a high of 88. About the same at 89 Thursday, and we'll have sunshine. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
Krispy Kreme Donuts sweetens the 4th of July celebrations with Krispy Kreme 4th of July specialty donuts. Stars, stripes, sprinkles, and more await you at Krispy Kreme Donuts with 2 locations to serve you in front of HCA Hospital on 23rd Street in Panama City and on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme Donuts this 4th of July and all year long.
Takes the latest trades, in-depth interviews.
That is my reaction.
We break it down for you right here.
Very big springboard for the rest of my career.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
That's the problem right there.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. It's on 104.3 here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with Tyler Bishop, Max Delyden, and Elliot Bradshaw. We'll be talking more in depth with Elliot here in the next segment after we play a little traffic jam and trivia. But now it's time for your Mortgage Minute with Max. And Max, I'm going to have to give you a filler question until I can get over to MLB.com here. Alek Manoah, you've been talking about his struggles that he's been having with the pitch clock.
Yeah.
Makes his start in rookie ball, right?
Yeah, and got shellacked.
Rookie ball and got shellacked, giving up 11 earned runs. And ladies and gentlemen, he only pitched 2.2 innings.
Against
Tell me about
18 and 19-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, is hitting just that explosive now for the youngins? What's going on?
And we talked about it, and I had that theory that those heavier set starting pitchers with the pitch clock can't go at their own pace. I mean, it's okay if you're a reliever going 1 inning or 2 innings, but guys like Manoah, Lance Lynn also doesn't have age on his side anymore. But I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know how you can go back to the clubhouse after that. That's below A ball where he's getting shelled. So,
and then like before they sent him down, I remember the day that they sent him down. It was like, oh, we don't know. Like he might make his next start, he might miss his next start.
Like a simulated game,
right?
So he probably got killed in the simulated games too.
Exactly. Good night. And then they send him down here. So is the gig up for him? Like, I
think maybe he'll figure it back out, but I don't know what they're going to do because that's someone they banked on being their number 2 behind Gausman, and it's not looking good anytime soon. At least lucky for them, Jose Barrios has looked really good, but he's come back to form. It looks
did he have the first complete game for the Twins in a while? Was that? I can't remember. I know the Twins, a Twins pitcher here recently.
Well, he's on the Jays now.
Oh, so then he was with the Twins.
Yeah,
right?
he was in that trade where they swapped him over.
Ah, gotcha. So now I'm trying to think of who
Maybe
the pitcher was.
Maybe thinking of like Joe Ryan or Sonny Gray, one of those.
No, it wasn't Sonny Gray. He pitched last night, and he actually had he pitched a great game. Yeah. But I mean that lineup is stupid, like underratedly stupid, I would say, because of I think when you have solid lineups in the major league levels. You have consistent lineups. You're not doing a whole bunch of platooning, whereas the Braves, it hasn't even been consistent numerically 1 through 10. Like they've just experimented with moving Olsen down to the 4-5 spot. Albies is up there hitting in the 2 spot. But they're playing a platoon out of left field with Rosario, with Ozuna, with Kevin Pillar. It's like, whoever wants to. I mean, it really is, though. It really is, because I don't know if you get the same consistent output if you use my theory of like having a solid lineup and really only changing.
Yeah. The anti-Joe Madden.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Madden will do whatever he wants with a lineup, though. So man, that's very, very underrated, I would say, for the Atlanta Braves. And the Reds also, I think, have one of those sneaky lineups where they're like. So I heard someone say they're like the Orioles of last year, which I mean you can make that case. I wouldn't even say that the Reds are to that point yet. No. But I would also say like the Orioles aren't the first team to like create this blueprint or whatever. I mean, look at the Braves.
Yeah,
the
Rays.
The Rays have been doing this forever. $76 million is what they spend on their payroll.
The Reds front office just finally hasn't messed something up.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. But I mean, the Reds are spending like $23 million more than what the Tampa Bay Rays are.
Yep.
Which is insane.
And they're half the team the Rays are.
Yeah, I mean, but just about every team in the league is about half the team of what the Rays are.
Outside of maybe the Braves.
Maybe the Braves.
I think a Rays-Braves series would be great because...
Dude, it's been my dream since the Rays have been a franchise, because living down there in St. Pete, so in my dad's, I would say, I don't know, I teeter back and forth between, I don't know if my dad's favorite team is the Braves or the Rays, because my grandma, she, rest her soul, but she's up in heaven now. She was a big Rays fan. She was a former White Sox fan, so, they watched a lot of games together and all that good stuff. So for me, a Braves-Rays series would be just wonderful.
Just be great baseball, too, especially if the Rays can get a little healthier.
Yeah.
Between McClanahan.
I mean, Braves, same way. Max Fried. I don't know
the Braves.
What the deal with Soroka is going to be.
Right.
He might make it back,
Anderson, who lost his way, I guess.
Oh, man, yeah. I haven't even thought about Ian Anderson since he's been optioned down. So.
And then Tommy John. And I know you guys are lucky though. You still have like Bryce Elder can come up, Dylan Dodd start.
Yeah, no doubt. AJ Smith-Shawver proved to be pretty good.
What the heck?
And they just sent him down.
That's not fair.
Derek Rodriguez. And what's crazy about it though is you're talking about the Atlanta Braves with a farm system who's ranked 30th according to Major League Baseball.
But all those guys are up, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You got your Michael Harris's, Riley, everyone's up.
No, let's take a. Have you done any voting for the All-Star game?
No.
Oh, come on, man. Well, I just want to hear your. I'm going to give you the percentages wise, and you just tell me if the fans are getting it right here. So we'll start with the American League. First base, you've got Tampa Bay's Yandy Diaz versus Vlad Guerrero. Diaz right now leading Guerrero 54 to 40. Yeah, 54% to 46%.
That's right. I'm good with that. I saw Vlad was ahead of it. And Yandy deserves it. Vlad just has the name recognition. So I mean, he's playing really well, but Yandy's been incredible, and that's a huge factor as to why the Rays offense has been good.
That's really what it boils down to, though, right? Is the name recognition there. We'll go over to second base. It's going to be Marcus Semien with the Rangers going up against Whit Merrifield for the Blue Jays.
That's a big-time name recognition one, too. That should definitely be Semien. Whit is not anything really
He's
anymore.
got like 2 home runs. Simeon's got not a whole bunch more, anywhere from 11 to 14, but 66% for Semien there. So fans are getting it right.
Like, league-wide at second base, the MLB's really low right now.
Yeah.
And Altuve, he's on that list too, but he's been injured, so you can't count him. Brandon Drury, he plays everywhere, but he's like decent. He's not great.
Yeah. He has those moments. But Whit Merrifield, the thing he's got going for him is hitting 292, but with the OPS is down at 723. So not looking great there. We'll go to third base. You got Young with
Josh Jung.
Yeah, Jung with the Rangers going up against Chapman of the Blue Jays. A lot of Rangers, Blue Jays.
I'd probably give it to Chapman just because of the mitt, but I'm not mad at either of those.
All right, so Josh Jung's going for 15 home runs, 44 RBIs, whereas Chap's got 10 home runs and 36 ribbies. So very, very close. Like you said, you can't really go either. You can go whichever way. Another Rangers-Blue Jays matchup here. Corey Seager, Bo Bichette. Corey Seager's got a 60-40 lead here. Do you agree?
Probably should go to Bo. Seager's playing really good ball, but, I mean, Bo runs more. He's a better hitter now. Seager's showing a little bit of age, and it has a little less pop now, but either way.
And it's crazy, though, because Seager's been injured a little bit this year, and he's still got 10 home runs and 46 RBIs.
He's one of those guys who's always, like, teetering on the IL, too, though. So.
Yep, absolutely. Catcher, you've got the Rangers catcher here in Jonah Heim, who's hitting 11 home runs, 55 RBIs behind a 282 average, and he's going up against Adley Rutschman, who's got 10 home runs, 34 RBIs, and Heim leads here 54 to 46%, which is wild because the name recognition goes, but
I would give it to Adley, just with the mitt behind the plate, too, and he plays almost every day. They really don't rest Adley Rutschman, so.
You know what my favorite Adley Rutschman stat is, if you will, or fact?
What?
His first career hit. A triple. Yeah, for a catcher. That just seems, and he hasn't hit another one. Yeah, but I mean,
he's not nowhere as fast.
Nowhere near as fast. We'll go over here to, outfield's a little difficult, but the leaders here are Mike Trout, Randy Arozarena, and Aaron Judge, which I differ. My only difference is having Yordan Alvarez over Trout.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because Trout obviously has the name recognition.
I've been voting. So, Well, I did one vote in phase 1, but then once we got to phase 2 here, I voted the last 2 days. So big whoop.
I mean, Trout's having a good year, but for Mike Trout standards, it's not a great year.
And honestly, if Judge were to be voted in and Trout were to be sitting there at 4th or whatever, Trout would end up playing because
with the torn
Judge,
ligament. Something the Yankees training staff, they're always so vague about those injuries, and that's bad.
Well, and then, they made so many free agent signings this year, and they're signing guys that were injured ahead of the year and then kind of had to wait on the pitching staff to get healthy, and
Rodon's
just little
still
by
not
little.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, Severino will be on the IL in no time.
But when they get, that stings. That's like a DeGrom dig there.
He's even worse than DeGrom on being injured.
That's true, but there's a lot more hype surrounding Jake DeGrom there. It's just it's crazy. It's crazy the fact, and you didn't make me lose where I was going with this, but the AL East, whenever that pitching staff does get healthy, is going to be even more bonkers than it already is right now.
No question.
We'll go over to the National League here. Freddie Freeman.
For DH too, it's Ohtani. We can skip that.
Ohtani's already locked in though, so there's no vote in there for DH. Let's go to first base for the National League. Freddie Freeman and Matt Olson. Freddie Freeman leading Matt Olson 60 to 40%, but it's a little bit closer when you look at the numbers. Now Freddie Freeman going crazy with the average at 317, has an OPS of 946, 14 home runs, 48 RBIs, whereas Matt Olson hitting 237, 25 homers, 60 ribbies, and a OPS of 885.
Yeah.
Make the right decision here.
I know it's Olson. I know.
I actually, yesterday I voted Olson. Today I voted Freeman. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of Braves fans who still vote for Freddie because they like Freddie.
I don't do it.
Vote, though.
I do not. I do not do it because I like Freddie. I do it because numerically speaking, honestly, when I really am honest with myself, I'd rather have the 25 home runs and 60 RBIs than a little less of an average there, especially when your OPS is.
It's more impactful. And then you have like the nerds of the world who are like, oh, he's got a higher on base percentage, so it's more valuable. It's like, no, it's not.
I mean, and you think about it, which guy would you rather have on the Atlanta Braves right now? Would you rather have the guy who's hitting for a high average and you have him in that number 2 spot? Or would you rather have Olson, who's, all right, these other guys are getting on base and I'm knocking them home there? We'll go ahead.
That shows like the flaws of the All-Star voting too. I see like on 5th is like Trey Mancini, and Trey Mancini's been like objectively one of the worst first basemen. He's been the worst starting first baseman in the league this year.
Where's Trey Mancini even at on here?
He's 5th on the one I'm looking at MLB.com.
Goodness. Well, yeah.
I don't know if you've seen him play first base, but it's atrocious.
Oh, 100%. And
I see better stuff at like Oakland Terrace.
Yeah, Oakland Terrace. Oh, man, that is not good. And that's the reason why I wanted to bring these up, is just to not necessarily exploit or expose like, the voting and stuff, just to see where the fans are voting. Because last year, if you remember, the total lead vote, the total vote getter who was leading after phase 1 was Fernando Tatis Jr., who was not even playing baseball. So what?
But now he's been
raking.
He's been like the best hitter in the league since he came back.
Oh, dude, like
he's been incredible. If you look at his like baseball savant page and in the outfield, oh my gosh, he's got like the best jump time, best throws.
And I don't hate it either, because
it's cool.
I like the fact that he had to battle back from all of the adversity, from the motorcycle crashes, from the PED and all of that stuff. And he's got so many fingers pointing in his face. And rather than just giving into it, he's become a better version of himself and also a better baseball player as well.
I think he kind of enjoys playing in the outfield now.
Yeah.
Like the putouts, it's pretty fun to see him.
Are you surprised that they moved him from left field to right field? Normally you do want kind of your best defensive, as long as he doesn't got too much speed over there in right field.
Right, yeah, that's like Jason Hayward always was with the Cubs.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah. Even Judge, you look at some of his baseball cards even have said center field on him and stuff, but, the Yankees got him over there in right field the majority of the time, and that's a good place for Judge.
And if you got to put a guy in the field, you got to put him in left field, like the Ozunas, Kyle Schwarber.
Yes. Kyle Schwarber.
Schwarber can kind of get bailed out sometimes because he's got such a strong arm, because he was originally a catcher.
Yeah.
But he is meant to be a DH.
That is so wild to think about Schwarber. You know what I mean?
He actually
about
leads
his journey.
in putouts sometimes.
And he also probably leads in having is he still sub 200? Right now with the average, but like every other hit's a daggum home run. Like what?
Go Hoosiers, baby.
Hey, go Hoosiers. There you go. You heard it here first. Ozzy Albies going up against Luis Ariz here for second base.
You got to give it to Ariz.
Ariz has got him 54% to 46%. And, Ozzy's got 18 home runs, 55 ribbies, 262 average, but Luis hitting 399, 3 home runs, and 37 RBIs. Will he finish with a average above 400 at the end of the season? I don't think
so, and that's not like that hot of a take, because it's so hard to do, especially now with how good pitchers are and even bullpen pitchers. But what he's doing is awesome, because he's not hitting like slap noodle hits. He has a ton of doubles too.
Yeah.
So I appreciate his approach too, because he has a lot of opposite field hits. Like every time I watch him, he has an opposite field hit to left.
I think I heard somewhere, and I can't remember the podcast I was listening to, he struck out like less than 13, or struck. He swung and missed like 13 times this year.
That's insane.
The fact that...
how does he see the ball that well?
Dude, he must have got some Eddie Rosario surgery and it worked.
The Jameis Winston LASIK.
Let's go to third base here. Do a little blind resume. One of the fellas is hitting 268, 15 home runs, 50 RBIs, and a OPS of 786, whereas the next guy's hitting 265, 13 home runs, 38 ribbies, and a OPS of 770.
I hate this because he's kind of a hardo, but I got to give it to Arenado.
There you go. So that was Nolan Arenado going up against Austin Riley there, and Arenado's got the vote right now, 58% to 42%.
And Riley was floundering for a little bit. He's been back, I'd say, the past week, 10 days or so, and he's looking more like himself, but I think that kind of knocked him out of the race for a while.
Yeah.
He had a weak May, I guess.
For it to be that close and you're still... Or for you to have that bad of a slump and you just still be this close in all-star voting, I think it's a good sign for things to come here for the Atlanta Braves. And I honestly would love to see Freddie Freeman win first base, and then second base is Ozzie Albies, shortstop's RC, third base is it's just like a whole bunch of Braves. And Freddie Freeman.
That happened with the Cubs in 2016. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Shortstop, you got Orlando Arcia going up against Francisco Lindor there, and the vote is looking 69% for Orlando, 31% for Lindor.
I think this one I'd give to Lindor. It's kind of similar.
Recognition.
No. It's
you're
you can't contradict yourself. It's like your Matt Olson, Freddie Freeman.
Okay, all right.
He's got 15 dingers. I think Garcia has 3. They probably have the same. Okay. They probably have the same wins above replacement too.
Well, that would be a good one to check there.
Yeah, I bet it's identical.
All right.
Even though the Mets, and it's a lot harder to be in that clubhouse with what the Mets are. Frank the Tank says this team has no heart.
It doesn't look like they do, man. They're walking people to lose games.
It's terrible.
Oh, man.
Did you see his video yesterday? He's like, Verlander's smiling. Do you see him? He doesn't even care.
Frank the Tank is a mess.
We got to get him on.
We got to get him back on with us. Sean Murphy, he's hitting 290, got 12 home runs and 43 RBIs, going up against Will Smith, who basically has the identical stat line there, 291 BA with 12 home runs, 41 RBIs, and a OPS of 925. Who would you go with, Sean Murphy or Will Smith?
I'd give it to Murphy. They've both had a tough job and tough assignments, messing with a lot of new pitchers due to the Dodgers and Braves starting pitchers' injury woes, but I'd give it to Sean Murphy. He's just better defensively behind the plate.
And then the final one here, all right, Ronald Acuna's already in, so you only have 2 more outfilders, Mookie Betts, Corbin Carroll, Lourdes Gurriel, or Michael Harris II. You get to take 2 of those 4. I'm going
to go outside of it. I'm going to take Corbin Carroll and Tatis.
Oh, okay.
Tatis has been the best hitter since he came back.
That's fine.
He has 15 homers. There's only 2 off Acuna.
Yeah. Tatis is going to find his way once they do the actual,
but I think he should start. I think I'll take Corbin Carroll over Mookie, too. Mookie's a name recognition guy, and he's had a good season, but Carroll's been such an impact bat for that lineup.
I'm going Ronnie, Mookie, and Corbin Carroll, and you guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to open up Traffic Jam and Trivia when we return, and we're also going to dive into our conversation with Elliot Bradshaw. Y'all stick with us. We're going to be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents The Blast at Bay Point. Listen to win your tee time at the legendary Bay Point Golf Club in beautiful Panama City Beach.
You ready to play some high-low?
I'm going to try.
Listen weekdays at 8:40, 12:40, and 5:40 to play high-low for a chance to win 18 holes at Bay Point Golf Club.
I tell you what, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to love it.
Listen to win the Blast at Bay Point from ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Tuesday's weather. The rest of the day, there will be a moderate breeze out of the west-southwest, mostly sunshine at 89. Mostly clear skies tonight, slightly cooler at 79, and a wind coming out of the west around 6 miles per hour. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and a light breeze right around 6 miles per hour with a high of 88. About the same at 89 Thursday, and we'll have sunshine. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control. They take pride in caring for their customers' property by providing lawn and whole house pest control. Whether you have roaches or any other unwanted bugs in your home, Turf Pro has you covered. Or if your lawn needs weed control, fertilize, insect control, Turf Pro has you covered by providing custom treatments to meet your property's needs. No property is the same, so why should it be treated that way? Turf Pro, where the blue and yellow trucks make your lawn green. Call 850-890-5820.
Hometown Sports Talk from hometown hosts.
People are loving it.
We're live and local. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
Are you kidding me?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
That'll do it for Max DeLayden, but you still got Tyler Bishop, Elliot Bradshaw. I'm David Hayes. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. Playing a little trivia here. We'll open that up. Which current star was the most recent, most outstanding player at the Men's College World Series to be drafted #1 overall? Which current star was the most recent, most outstanding player at the Men's College World Series to be drafted #1 overall? Give us a call at 850-215-6290 for your chance to win $25 gift card to Rudy's Barbecue and a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. Normally, this is where I have the Braves update. We'll do that here in hour number 2, but it's brought to you by The Break Room, and today's special is not meatloaf. It's actually shepherd's pie today, so get on over there to The Break Room. Tell Chef Ross that we sent you over there. All specials are just $12. They come with a drink and a side and dessert. Now we're going to talk with Elliot Bradshaw. Elliot, you played football last year, UAB, and you walked on. So kind of explain that process a little bit. Like, what's it like to be a college football player who walked on?
Yeah, so I always kind of had the thought process behind walking on was like, I'm the lowest on the depth chart, like I'm going to be the guy who's got to stay after practice, got to, pick up everyone's pads and stuff like that. And to some degree it was like that. I mean, you kind of have the expectation, like you're not on scholarship, so you don't have some of the same grace that some of the other guys do.
Right.
But in general, like once the season starts, it's kind of like we bonded, we're there together, and I don't think that we didn't get treated any differently, the walk-ons versus the non-walk-ons. But certainly, going into it, the process was like I felt the weight of being a walk-on. Like at first, like, man, I got to make a good impression.
Right.
That was a big thing for me, and I made sure, like, I come in early, stay late every time I could, and I think the biggest thing for me was being that way and showing the coaches that, like, I'm a player you want on your team.
Right.
And so for me, like, the walk-on process, it was mostly in my mind. It was like they were happy to have me. No one really put those expectations on me but myself.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean, it really wasn't bad. For me, the way I even found out about it was through just flyers around UAB, and they would have Instagram posts or something like that talking about, hey, if you're already an enrolled student, come on and you can walk on. And we had a bunch of folks out there. It was I can't exactly remember how many, maybe 60 or 70 people, and in the walk-on process, it was pretty simple. The walk-on day that we showed up, and we just did a little warm-up, ran a sprint, 40-yard, 5, 10, and 5, and then a couple of agility drills and stuff like that. And they came and talked to me. I just prayed about it a lot and said, Lord, I'm not on the team now, so either I'm not going to be on the team or I'm going to be on the team, and either way, like, I'm not losing. So right. I prayed about it, and that's how it went.
Did they break you guys up by position and all that stuff, or?
They actually didn't, which was a little surprising to me because, of course, I played center, and I was trying out. Interestingly enough, I tried out for D-line, and they just had me play center, which is probably for the better because those guys are really athletic, way more athletic than I am on the D line. So yeah, I mean, I expected them to break us up, and in terms of like weight or you might play this position or something like that, but really they didn't do that. So yeah.
Well, what was the NIL situation like there at UAB as far as the locker room goes? Like, was there any situations where some of the guys on the team might have been a little jealous at some guy getting a little bit more money or anything like that, or were y'all a pretty tight knit locker room?
I would say we were a pretty tight knit locker room. To my knowledge, there was no like drama associated with that.
Right.
Of course, we had the star player Dwayne McBride. He got drafted to the Vikings this year, and we had a few of the other guys that were more outgoing about like contacting these or getting in contact with these different companies that might be willing to sponsor them. And we actually had a person who was in charge of that. And we were one of the few people, or one of the few colleges that they said began doing that right away. And as a result, there was a decent amount of people who got NIL deals, and they're not crazy lucrative deals.
Right.
But it was a case where a lot of different people were getting the NIL deals, and even some like freshmen. I know a good buddy of mine. He plays tight end for UAB. Might be starting this year. He had an NIL deal, and I was like, man, freshman's getting it. Like most of these guys probably have some. So really, the NIL deals. They really, I think, did nothing but good for us.
That's awesome, man. We're going to pause on that real quick. We're going to get over to the phone line. We've got Coach Olds. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdog. You playing some trivia with us, Coach?
Yes. I think how you ask questions.
Yeah. Which current star?
Pitcher from TCU, Brandon Finnegan. He played in the College World Series and the MLB World Series in the same year. Is that what you're looking for?
Oh no, the question is which current star was the most recent, most outstanding player at the Men's College World Series and got drafted #1 overall?
Try again next time.
All right, sounds good, Coach Olds. Which current star was the most recent, most outstanding player at the Men's College World Series to be drafted #1 overall? Give us a call, 850-215-6290. So the interesting part, or I'm sure that there's multiple interesting parts of your story, Elliot, but one of them is that you graduated in 2017 and did not play again until you got onto the roster there with UAB. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're talking now with Elliot Bradshaw, who is a walk-on at UAB playing football there, playing the position of center, which is a very tough position. Also want to ask a little bit more about that. But yeah, so tell us, I mean, the hiatus there, 5 years, and then you go to the highest level of collegiate football in Division I. Tell me about that. How was it? How much rust did you have to knock off?
I had a lot of rust to knock off, man. So I graduated high school in 2017. Of course, I played through high school, and the place where I played was it was a real small school. We had maybe, like, even with JV included, like 35 guys.
Okay, so you was playing JV and varsity.
Just about, yeah. I didn't come off the field besides kickoff, basically.
Yeah.
Or halftime, something like that. It was
more than Iron Man. You were like a titanium man, or whatever stronger.
Yeah, and it wasn't just me. We had a few guys like this. So
right.
it was a big difference, not only going from that high school situation to having like 130 guys on the team.
Yeah. How many people do you think went to your high school, or at least was in your graduating class? Because I graduated from a very small. We had like 12 people in my graduating class over here at Covenant Christian, and I was related to a quarter of them.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, we had a decent size, I want to say 60, 70, like decently sized graduating class, but it was a Christian academy with a bunch of homeschool students.
Okay, I was homeschooled till 10th grade, yeah.
Yeah, that's similar to how I was, but we just didn't have a lot of people come out to play football with us.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it was a big jump going from that to UAB, and also like the 5 years was massive.
Right.
Really, I came in there thinking I know nothing, and that's pretty much how it was. Like, they hand me the sheet, basically the playbook, day one, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this? Like, I never heard of this, you know. So
it's like I never seen this on Madden. This can't be real, man.
Yeah. I mean, to some degree, like I've seen it on Madden.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of like I know how football works,
right.
And stuff. But going from that situation, taking 5 years, and then coming back to college football, like you said, D1 is like it was such a big difference, and on top of being the walk-on process, like I mentioned earlier, how it's like the expectations I feel like were a little bit different for me than some of the other players who might have been on scholarship. I think that it was a massive learning curve, probably the biggest learning curve of my life going on there. But really, after the first 3 or 4 weeks, you're in there every day,
right?
So learning the playbook, being with the guys, and just the way you study the film and see your mistakes from like yesterday or even early. Once we got to fall camp, it would be we practice in the mornings, and then we watch the film right after we practice. So it's like, okay, I'm seeing the errors I'm making,
right?
And that was just something I never had, and that allowed me to knock off the rust that not only did I not know I had, but just it got it done quicker than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, like submersing you in some type of oxidization process or something like that.
I got oxidized for sure, yeah.
No doubt, man. What was your primary position when you were playing in high school?
I played a lot of defense. I played probably, I would say, defensive end, middle linebacker, something like that. Whatever we needed, basically, at the time.
Yeah.
And then on the offensive line or tight end, something like that. Really, like I said, I was playing both ways at all times. It was like, who do we have injured? Who do we not have injured?
Did you play center a lot at the high school level?
I played center in like my freshman year.
Okay.
And so the reason I played center at UAB was basically we had a guy at center, but he had to leave the team, and basically I was playing, guard, tackle, center, whatever. Basically, they were kind of trying to sort me into the lineup.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. And once I got left, basically he was like, "All right, get to snapping." I stayed after practice, snapped a bunch, and only had a few bad snaps. So,
what was the toughest part of being a center that for you to grasp, especially like you've gone 5 years without playing, and now for the UAB Blazers you're going to be the center, you're going to be the anchor to the offensive line. Was it the snap count, remembering the snap count? Was it which direction the running plays are going to go, pass protection versus run protection? Above all, what was the toughest thing for Elliott to kind of become accustomed to for UAB?
I would say just making the calls on the line, because that's never something I had to do in high school.
So you were calling the audibles, or you're giving the audible call for the line?
Just for the O-line. Now,
Gotcha.
like the quarterback's in charge of basically everything else.
Right.
And of course, if we're swapping plays, the coach is calling into the quarterback, and he'll tell me or something like that, or the rest of the O-line. But we got the play. We go to the line, and I have to call out, like, okay, me and you are double teaming this guy. We're working to this guy right here.
Gotcha.
And then you two over here are doing this thing. And then my other tackle, you got this guy over here, So it's kind of like conducting traffic at every play. So me learning the plays, I had to get that fast, man. And to know, like, okay, it's going this direction. That kind of came like, okay, there's the flow of the play. This is how you need to block it, that sort of thing. But the specifics of the call, every single play, that was probably the biggest hurdle for me.
Pass protection, run protection. Which one did you enjoy more, and which one were you better at?
Well, I don't like to think I was very good at either. I praise the Lord for the opportunity to play, man.
Amen. I appreciate the humbleness, man.
I mean, of course, I'm there trying every day, but like some of these guys are just amazing. And so it was funny because in high school, I would always say pass. I would always say pass protection, because it's kind of like you just kind of stand there and just like, I don't
push
really.
Push him back. You can't go too far.
Exactly. So I kind of just stand there and like hold up my guy for a second, and I kind of get a little break.
Yeah.
And the quarterback's usually throwing the ball out of his hands pretty early, so it's kind of a little bit of a rest. And I'm like, man, I don't want to run block right now, but really, once we get the double teams down in the run block, and I know like my guys right here with me, I love the run block.
Yeah.
I love nose tackle, like a 2-eye, working up to a linebacker. That's some of my favorite stuff right there.
Golly, yeah, Tyler, I don't want to take the whole interview. You got anything?
No, man, you kind of touched on playing with Dwayne McBride earlier. He got drafted in the 7th round of the Vikings, like, and going from high school to that level. But, like, he was a 7th round pick. So, I mean, obviously it's amazing to get drafted, but just, like, how crazy of an athlete did he appear to be? And, like, the fact that he was drafted that low, like, how... Like, kind of put into perspective how amazing NFL athletes are.
Yeah, 100%. No, that was a thought I had, like, on draft night. I'm like, man, I'm thinking Dwayne McBride's got a chance to go, like, 3rd round.
Yeah.
Because he was top 2, I think, in college rushing, and he didn't play in the Bahamas Bowl. So if he had played, he might have been number 1. And so I'm thinking, like, man, like, this guy's like the best football player I've ever been on a team with, and this guy went 7th round. Like, that's crazy to me. And so no, I mean, it definitely speaks volumes to the depth of the talent just in all of college football.
Elliot, I've got to take a break right here. Do you got like 5 or so minutes that you can spend with us here in the next segment? I just got to. All right, cool. If you got a little bit more time, we're going to spend a little bit more time with Elliot Bradshaw. Then we'll move on to some NFL and college football. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Hour number 2 is coming up next.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the inside drive.
The Gators have been on fire. They've won several national championships in the last 2 years, mainly in track and field. But this year, obviously, we've talked about the men's golf team won the 2023 national championship. Fred Biondi won the individual national championship. Your men's outdoor track.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Tuesday's weather. The rest of the day, there will be a moderate breeze out of the west-southwest, mostly sunshine at 89. Mostly clear skies tonight, slightly cooler at 79, and a wind coming out of the west around 6 miles per hour. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and a light breeze right around 6 miles per hour with a high of 88. About the same at 89 Thursday, and we'll have sunshine. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ben and Deb Collins, owners of Bay Guns and Gear, have been in business since 2010, offering new firearms and accessories with a huge selection available for your hunting needs and personal defense. Turn to Bay Guns and Gear. They have the weapon for you. Discount pricing. And if you can't find what you're looking for, they'll special order it for you. Bay Guns and Gear, across from Grease Pro at 3115 Highway 77. Visit their website, baygunsandgear.com.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents The Blast at Bay Point.
You ready to play some high-low?
Keep listening to win.
I'm going to try.
The Blast at Bay Point on ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. It is hour number 2. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs, and you're tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget about the Blast at Bay Point. You and a guest could win a round of 18 at the legendary Bay Point Golf Club here in beautiful Panama City Beach. You've got to listen weekdays at 8:40 a.m., 12:40 in the afternoon, and 5:40 p.m. to play some high-low. When you hear the cue to call, be caller number 10, 850-215-6290. If you guessed the number correctly, you and a guest win a round of 18 at Bay Point. The more you listen, the better your chance of guessing the right number in high-low. And don't forget, we're going to have a new number this Monday. So no Blast at Bay Point today, tomorrow, or Thursday. We'll get back to it Monday with a brand new number. Your Atlanta Braves will be on the ESPN Northwest Florida tonight. Coverage starting at 6. First pitch tonight at 6:20. We've got Elliot Bradshaw in the building with us. He played center at UAB, walking on after going from 2017, his final year in high school football. Didn't play again for 5 more years. 2022, he walks on there. And y'all had a heck of a season, right? So finished at 6-6. Kind of go through the highs and the lows and talk a little bit about the valleys that y'all had to deal with and the highs and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So going into every single game, I believe me and the majority of the team, it had to be the majority of the team, believed in our heart we were winning the game. And at one point we had a stat, I can't remember the exact stat, but it was, I think going into LSU week, all of our losses had come, which was like 4 or maybe even 5 losses had come by a margin of 21 points total. So it was like, man, these are crucial games, and we just lose them in the last second. And like the UTSA game, for example, it was a nail biter in this double overtime, and we just barely lost it. And it was so there was certainly the highs and the lows. And we had a new head coach this season. It was an interim head coach, Bryant Vincent. Mm-hmm. He was the former offensive coordinator, and so it was a balance between rallying behind Coach V and taking responsibility for like the players, taking the responsibility for dropping some of the games and stuff like that. And I really think that we did a great job, for a 6-6 team that thought, I believe we're going 12-0.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the only way you should go into a season.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So for having that sort of mindset going into the year and then finishing 6-6, I mean, really, I think the locker room had about as good of an attitude about it as they could have.
Yeah. No, that's really good stuff. 2 more. Well, we got a bunch more. And Tyler, you got one?
If you want one, go for it, man.
Did y'all get up more for those games when it's like an LSU type opponent, a blue chip opponent, or was it day in, day out? Like, be honest with me here, because we always hear like, oh, you got to treat every game as the same. Yeah. But being in that locker room and being out here watching the games are 2 different things. So when LSU's or when you're on the road to LSU compared to like and UTEP or UTSA, UTSA rather. I mean, that's a program who the year prior went undefeated. So, like, did y'all get up the same for both games? Was there added pressure, any of that kind of stuff? Take me through your head on that one.
Yeah, so for sure the LSU game was a big one.
Yeah,
we had former players coming by, getting in the huddle at the end of the game, or at the end of practice. I'm sorry, hyping us up and things like that, and the people who was really invested in the program are like really like pushing, especially for the LSU game. That's a big one I remember. But in general, I really think that they did a good job of keeping it like we're locked in, week out.
Yeah.
And of course there's games like our first game of the season we won 59-0, and that was a big one, and that kind of put it in perspective, like, wow, we can really like score some points, we can run it up, we play good defense, so I think that the guys kind of did a great job of keeping that sort of mindset, like we're here to win every game. And the LSU game was for sure one that changed a bit, but in general, no, I think we pretty much treated every game the same.
That's great. What do you got, Tyler?
So, I mean, anybody who watches a college football bowl game, you see all like the video clips, like the teams doing all the games and pre-stuff beforehand. Kind of how long were y'all in the Bahamas for that game? And kind of just like how much fun was that kind of stuff? And, did y'all interact a whole lot with the other team? How is that kind of bonding process like?
Yeah, so we got in the Bahamas, I want to say Monday. I can't remember exactly. And the game, I want to say it was on Friday, something like that.
So y'all got like almost a week there. And then yeah, cool.
Yeah, it was a little vacation, really. And it was that or go somewhere like, Arizona. It's like, in December, no. I'll take the Bahamas.
Right.
Yeah, so it was really cool when we were down there. I'm so appreciative to have gotten that opportunity because that's somewhere you dream of going. The Bahamas.
You'll pay a lot of money to go to the Bahamas.
Exactly, and I just got to go down and just play football. I'm practicing. I wasn't playing, but I'd say the whole experience there, it was really cool. we stayed in the Atlantis Hotel.
Gotcha.
There's a big resort out there, and we could stay on the resort, do anything there, and it was really cool. It was a fun time, bonding with the teammates and stuff like that. And I had one teammate say, Bryson Lucero, a good friend of mine, he was a quarterback for us, and he told me something that was really interesting that I thought. He said, man, I feel like I bonded more with my teammates in the 5 days that we've been down here than I have some of the rest of the season. And it's like, man, that really puts into perspective, because we're in practice every day with each other, but then it's kind of like everyone they got classes to go to.
We got real life to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. So when we're living with each other in the Bahamas, we kind of really bonded together well, and I think that was probably my favorite part of it.
2 questions. Well, more than that, but we're going with 2 here.
Okay.
One is going to be, did y'all, preseason, not necessarily preseason, but spring camp and all of that good stuff, did y'all have, did the coaches put forth anything that was intended for a bonding experience or anything like that?
We would do, let me think for a second.
Yeah.
During fall camp, we were kind of so focused on practicing and things like that. But we had a couple, there's a couple kind of routines that they'll do year in, year out, that sort of thing. But in terms of bonding with each other, there was never it wasn't a big a deal like that where we're getting really, really close with each other. It's kind of the guys who's going to hang out with each other are usually the position groups.
Yeah, and we would, and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and we would do per position group, maybe go out and get some food or something like that. But
that's not how many guys, 80-something guys or more, all kind of doing the same thing.
It's really hard to do something for as many people as on the team.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I guess the second part of that question is, so I don't want to use Jackson Smith and Jigba as a example here because his was health related, but sometimes you see these guys who they know they're going pretty high in the draft, let's say the first 2 rounds or whatever, and they opt out of those bowls, and they're not going to be a part of the team next year anyway, so I guess in hindsight it really doesn't much matter. So my question to you is, and I know that I have a feeling that your answer is going to be, well, whatever the player wants to do is what he should do. That's cool, but from the outside perspective, it's not Elliott answering, it's just maybe what the right thing would be. Should these players be opting out, and that gives more bonding for the team that's going to be there next year, or should they be there for their guys for their final opportunity to be with their team?
Yeah, so that's something I've thought a good bit about, because our running back Dwayne McBride, he sat out our bowl game, and I think that was a smart decision for him, especially because he's a running back. He got so many touches in
the regular season.
Yeah. It's running backs, especially going to the league, are going to have a limited amount of traction, basically.
That mileage is taken, yeah.
Exactly. So for other positions, I think it could be a little different. In Jigba, he is a receiver. He's probably not as worn and torn as a running back might be. So it might be a little bit different. But I really think there is a value of going to play kind of with the team moving forward, but also you really want to win the bowl game. You want to win the ring, So
it's your final opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. If it was me, I would probably go ahead and play it out.
Gotcha.
Myself, yeah.
Gotcha.
Because if I'm a player who I can know is going to help my team win, I want to help these guys win the ring,
Yeah.
And so I respect either way, I think there's sense to both sides, and especially, like I said, depending on the position you play, it plays a big role in it. But that's kind of where I'm at on it.
So obviously you're not playing this year, Elliott. But have you looked at the schedule a whole lot coming on? What's kind of your expectation outside of a loss to them Dogs in September?
I mean, so going forward, I don't know a ton of how the offense is going to run or the defense is going to run. I know a bunch of the players, of course, returning and things like that. But I haven't studied the schedule very much. I know Georgia, but I have high expectations. I know the guys that we got in there just are also I'm man, how are these guys doing these things? And they're not even starting. So getting to see them in this sort of system with Trent Dilfer going towards more of a pass-heavy offense, because the offense we were last year especially was more run-oriented.
Yeah.
And now we're going to be more I'm assuming we're going to be more shifted towards a passing-heavy offense and things like that. And some of the receivers and some of the running backs that we got are, I think, a little more geared towards that. So, and Jacob Zeno is a guy. I didn't really get to meet him very well, but he was always such a good leader every time I spoke with him, and he was kind of with the team, and I think he's going to do big things going forward.
How do we're talking a little bit about Trent Dilfer here, but I want to go back to your interim coach. How did the guys respond to? Did that happen mid? I can't remember for the life of me right now. Was that a mid-season kind of a deal? And then so if it was, that's even better for this question. How did y'all respond to that as a group? Did y'all have to have, or not have to have, but did the leader in the locker room kind of get up and be like, look, this is, we're going to listen to him, or what? Or did he kind of grab the bull by the horns and like the interim coach? So explain that to me.
Yeah, so Coach V took over, I want to say, midway through the summer. I can't remember the exact date, of course, but somewhere he was there before fall camp, and Coach V had been with the program for a long time since we started back up, and so the coaching staff and the players as well, really rallied behind Coach V. I think there was never any people questioning him or things like that, and really, to my knowledge, he ran things very similarly.
Gotcha.
To Bill Clark, who was the head coach for a long time, and he was very close with Coach Clark, to my knowledge. So they just they had a similar goal in mind. So really, I don't think we missed a beat. They had some seniors and some of the leaders in the locker room certainly stepped up for sure. But it was never a situation where Coach V was being questioned or anything like that. Most of the players really did a good job of rallying behind him, I think.
Yeah, Wright State Chris said, you sound like a D1 football player. He also said, he asked, how do they feel about Bama and Auburn? I think he's meaning that question more against UAB, or how UAB, faithful fans and current players and stuff feel about Bama and Auburn. But if you were listening a little bit ago, Wright State Chris, actually it was when we first started the show, I asked you who you root for. So he's actually an Alabama fan, but feel free to re-answer that question if you will.
Yeah, so I grew up an Alabama fan. Just it's hard not to.
Right.
With how good they've been, and of course, Auburn's very popular in contrast to Roll Tide.
Right.
But I think the community around Birmingham is pretty heavily rooted UAB fans. And it's really amazing to see, because I'm kind of going into it. It's I know it's D1 football. Going right when I got there, I was but I thought the same sort of thing. Man, we got Alabama, we got Auburn, these massive, nationwide schools. Everyone knows these guys, and this is UAB. People might not know us as well or something like that, but the community around Birmingham, it was amazing to see how dedicated they actually were. So I think, of course, people know about Alabama, Auburn, of course, but there are some real good, strong UAB fans out there, and I can't say how much I appreciate them.
That is a fantastic answer, and also those jerseys are not too shabby at all for UAB.
Blazers are pretty sweet. It's one of the more unique and pretty awesome mascots.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Elliot, so you talk about this whole process and how you just kind of believed in yourself and went for it. What would be the one, if you give somebody listening to the show, there's one kid out there in Bay County that's you know what, I may try to walk on next year, wherever. What's the one piece of advice? If you could tell them one thing, what would it be?
Oh man, I would say just show up and do the work that no one wants to do. Coming in early, I mentioned this earlier, but showing up early, staying late, being willing to put in the time, put in the work, be willing to be wrong, that sort of thing, that kind of mindset. I think just having the right mindset about things goes a long way. And the coaches, you don't have to be the best player in the world.
Right.
You don't have to be this crazy athlete. If you're doing that, you're going to get scouted by LSU, Alabama, Auburn. These guys, you're going to get scouted by them and picked up by them. But if you're not, just having that kind of mindset, the underdog mentality type thing, where you're in there to put in the work,
right?
And the coaches notice that.
What was your favorite moment off the field at UAB?
Oh man, that's a really good question. Off the field,
it's a family show. No, just
yeah, man. I'm trying to think. Me and some of the O-line boys we'd always hit up Buffalo Wild Wings for BOGO on Thursday after practice. Man, I can't think of a specific one, but immediately that comes to mind. Like just going after practice, just tearing up some wings with the guys, man.
Did they have to shut down after y'all walked in? Y'all eating out of food?
No, they didn't. They knew we were coming though, for sure.
Absolutely. So that's, I guess, my next question. About, on average, how many wings are you eating at a sit down? Bone in, not boneless. We're not talking chicken nuggets here.
Back then or right now? Okay.
Well, let's go back then, and then let's go to your right now. Like, how many wings have you lost along the way?
Okay, so back then it might have been 30, 40.
30 to 40.
It was a big number.
Now, how hot was the hot sauce? Like, did you like it like real hot, like mild? Where are you at there?
I'm a pretty big, get a spicy one and get one that will cool me off.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
You gotta have a strategy if you're having 40 wings.
Oh, yeah, I definitely do. And,
ranch or blue cheese?
Ranch all the way.
Absolutely, man. I don't even know why I asked you that if you're from Alabama. Give me a bucket of ranch at that point.
Yeah. But, so what's interesting about that is, how much weight I've lost. I've lost 45 pounds since I played.
Really?
And, and I had to bulk up to play, and I was playing at, just under 270, which is super light for the O-line.
Yeah, you kind of look more like a long snapper than a center.
Just about, and it's amazing how much different the eating habits and how much your body needs mid-season. Now, I'm not even playing the games; I'm just practicing. You know? So it really is amazing, how much not only have I lost in weight, but my eating,
appetite
I just can't. Yeah, my appetite has gone so far down, and I can't even I absolutely could not eat the same way.
So if we were going to Dave & Buster's tonight, and I was like, the wings are on me, you get as many as you can get, and we still, get you some hot and some mild, so you can go up and down here. How many wings is Elliot eating on a night like tonight?
Man, right now I'm pretty
copious amounts of water to go along with it.
I'm pretty hungry right now. Maybe 20, 30. Maybe
20, 30. I'm like, oh, that's like 2 days worth of wings for me.
Yeah, I mean, my appetite's there if I need it to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
If the wings aren't on me, I got you.
I love it, man.
If it's free, it's for me, baby. That's the way you gotta look.
If it's free, it's for me. Elliot, man, we're just about out of time here, so I'll ask you one more here. And practice field, game field, doesn't matter here. Your favorite moment on the field?
On the field, man, that's a tough one, because there's a lot of them. I would say the Bahamas Bowl win. Yeah, that was a big one.
Which was a close game, though, right?
It was, and we stopped them on the 2-yard line. Final play of the game was. That's what made it so good, man. I was kind of like.
Y'all were one of the first bowl games.
We were the first.
That's right. Okay. I remember that.
I want to say it was December 16th, if I remember correctly.
16th or the 17th, one of those days.
Yeah, and we were the first aired bowl game for sure.
What was the weather like in the Bahamas on that day?
The weather was perfect, actually, because it's not too hot. It's certainly humid, but it was not blistering hot. And it was mid to high 80s, probably about how it is right now, which is.
Come on now.
I don't know if that's perfect weather.
It's like mid 90s out there right now.
I love, man. I love the hot weather. For playing football.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, really, I love.
Wait, actually, isn't football weather like a little bit more chilly? But I hear you.
Only if you ask the Yankees up north.
Either way, but I mean, just being behind the line, I couldn't see what was going on, and I'm looking around like, man, what happened? And then everyone just starts cheering, and we're like, we won. That was probably my favorite.
That is awesome, Elliot, man. It's so great to have you on with us, and maybe you can be our resident UAB guy, and we call you once a week throughout the season. All right, that would be great. And then one more here, when it comes to wings, naked or breaded?
Breaded.
Ooh, I'm more of it. See, if you ate naked wings, you're probably putting down 60 while
you
you're
might
playing.
be right. Yeah, you might be right. I guess it depends on where I go.
Hey, no doubt. It was a great time having you on. That's Elliot Bradshaw. He played football at UAB last year at the position of center, which is the anchor of the offensive line. Great conversation, man, and enjoy your stay down here in Panama City Beach, Florida, and look forward to chatting with you throughout the season as well.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, it's the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to keep it rolling with a little NFL talk here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The tradition continues.
That ball is going to be out of here.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Bombs away.
The Atlanta Braves are back and making a statement.
Head first slide, 2 RBI triple.
Listen to Atlanta Braves baseball in a rich audio experience live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here comes the thunder.
Sponsored by Best Way Portable Buildings, Dave & Buster's, PCB Hobby, and Gulf Coast Aquarium.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Tuesday. For tonight, mostly clear skies and a low of 79 with a light breeze at 7 miles per hour out of the west. Tomorrow morning, mostly sunshine with temps around 87. In the afternoon and evening, mostly sunny with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 88. Moving into Thursday, about the same with a high of 89 and sunshine. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
It's time for the 2023 Southern Lights Talent Event. We're looking for local artists, including singers, musicians, comedians, any family-friendly talent that wants to take their talent to the next level. $10,000 in cash, recording deals, Chipola scholarships, video specials, all going to talented people from all over the tri-state area. We're also looking for sponsors, people and businesses that want to support local artists and make an impact on their community. Auditions are going on right now, so check us out today at southernlights.cc.
Hometown Sports Talk from hometown hosts.
People are loving it.
We're live and local. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
Are you kidding me?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida. That was Elliot Bradshaw, a walk-on over there at UAB. That was a very fun interview. Whenever I'm around athletes who played at higher levels than I did, which is a lot of athletes, my head just starts spinning like a merry-go-round. They start talking. I'm like, ooh, I got a question for this. I've got a question for that. Like, I'm over here started with about 7 questions. And then pinned about 10 of them along the way. So I'm David Hayes along with Tyler Bishop. And it's just the two of us now. Just the two of us.
5 o'clock special, right?
The 5 o'clock special. Quickly here, I'm going to go into the Braves update brought to you by the Break Room. Marcell Ozuna last night with a go-ahead homer off of Sonny Gray in the 7th. Spencer Strider kept on going. He just allowed 3 hits in 7 innings last night, striking out 10, which I wish I would have used that for the leverage of the bet. Because I would be a Braves hat up right now. Struck out 10 last night. Braves win against the first place in the American League Central Minnesota Twins 4-1 in their first visit to Atlanta last night in 7 years, which seems hard to believe in the world of Major League Baseball, but that's the interleague play for you. And now we're at a time and place where every team plays every team, which I really do love. Brian Haddad's not a huge fan of it. There's some other people who they're just not a huge fan of it because they've gotten so used to just National League.
Is that just more like a tradition thing more so than because I feel like they play so many games. Like it's almost weird that they wouldn't play everybody every.
Right. That's what my thought has always been because when I was younger, they just kind of introduced interleague play, and when it would scroll across the ticker on ESPN, it would say NL, AL, and interleague. So if they were playing against each other, if it was a National League team versus an AL team, then you would see interleague there. And now it's all combined with 162 games. I think that's the right thing to do. And also, if you're trying to get your superstars in front of people, then have your superstars visit each stadium at least once every 2 years. And they've if there's one good thing that's come from all the rule changes in Major League Baseball, I would say that this is the one that Rob Manfred got right. Caveman Rick says the same thing, and that is wild. If Me and Caveman Rick are agreeing on it.
Either really good or really bad.
It's not that me and Caveman Rick agreeing. It's Caveman Rick agreeing with me. When you see that, then I think you got to look out the window and make sure you don't see any pigs out there flying around. Before the homer last night from Marcell Ozuna, he was 2 for 12 with 5 strikeouts against Sonny Gray and turned that around for him. Strider last night, who's now 9-2 on the season, won his 5th consecutive decision. He reached double-digit strikeouts for the 11th time in 36 starts, and that's including 5 of them this season. He's allowed 1 run in each of his last 2 starts, and he gave up a combined 13 runs in back-to-back games prior to those last 2 starts. He's the second Braves pitcher to record 140 strikeouts before the month of July in the World Series era, which is since 1903. He joins John Smoltz in 96 with 145 strikeouts, who led the majors in strikeouts that year with 276, and he won the NL Cy Young Award that season. So Spencer Strider's making some waves, and I mean, anytime that you can be compared to one of the Braves' big 3, I think that's a big a great move in the right direction, right? Kirby Yates, he threw for the save last night in the 9th inning and got his first save since August 7th of 2020 when he was with the Padres being the main closer there, and they were up against the Diamondbacks. He also struck out Joey Gallo, who hit a home run off of Spencer Strider, and Byron Buxton, so 2 of the best hitters on the Twins. Well, Gallo, more of a power guy, not a great average guy. Byron Buxton, though, he's, one of those guys who you want. He's like not a Mike Thomas, but kind of comparable, meaning that, he's got so much expectations around him. He's got the talent, but he's injured and doesn't live up to the expectations a lot. So not down as bad as what Mike Thomas is.
Feels like Michael Thomas hasn't played more than like 4 games in 6 years. I mean, it probably hasn't been
seriously
that long.
though.
It feels like it's been that long.
Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit more about him because we're going to talk about some NFL players who are up against a make or break season here for 2023. The Braves did improve to 14-2 against teams from the American League and the National League Central. That is a 6-1 mark against AL Central teams and 8-1 against the NL Central. And they're hoping that Max Fried, who's been on the injured list since May 7th, can return late in July. Tonight, the matchup for the Braves and the Twins is going to be Bryce Elder on the bump for the Bravos, who's 5-1 with an ERA of 2.40. And the Twins got Joe Ryan going, who's 8-4 with an ERA of 2.98. Go to MLB.com and go vote for your Braves for the All-Star game. All right. Don't forget also to go to Facebook, type in David Hayes. If we're not friends, add me as a friend on Facebook and go vote for the GOAT of GOAT Sports Movies. We're going to be announcing the results tomorrow at Dave & Buster's at 4:20. All right, a little love here. No. We're sticking with the NFL. We're going to talk a little Pac-12 after our local segment today. We've got 44 days until preseason and 72 days until the first NFL game. And we're going to start with this. Which fan base is the most deserving of a Super Bowl title right now?
Man, that's a tough one.
This is. So I'll answer first. Unless, do you have one off the tip of your tongue? All right. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions, who obviously haven't gotten it done. And they've, done the moves to get in the right spot. They bring in Jared Goff. The wide receiving core is crazy, even without Jamison Williams. And, he'll be back after 6 games this year. It's been odd how they've dealt with the running back room, but they've got Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery over there. They got great production out of Jamal Williams, who's now with the Saints. But, man, the Lions have just been drugged through the ringer as a fan base, and yet somehow they find a way to be positive until they, and now they got a coach who's willing to go bite some kneecaps and all of that good stuff. So for me, it's going to be the Detroit Lions. I mean, there's so many fan bases that I could put up there with them. The Bengals and the Eagles are the easiest to think about just because they were so close but yet so far away. But I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions.
No, I mean, that's a great pick. When you said, I was like, man, that is a really good one. I will say if the Philadelphia Eagles hadn't won it, 5 years ago?
Yeah, that's
my
fair.
heart would go out a little bit more for them coming so close last year. But the fact that they just won one makes me not feel too bad for them. If I could find a way for the fan base to win the Super Bowl, but the front office not be able to celebrate it, this would be the team it'd be the Cleveland Browns.
Oh.
Because I don't really agree with a lot of things they did with the Deshaun Watson situation, but like that fan base deserves it. They're loyal. They show up. You know, they had to watch their team leave Cleveland, go to Baltimore, then turn around and win 2 Super Bowls in Baltimore.
Yeah.
While they're stuck there, they draft Tim Couch. You know, they just, you know, they've had 38 starting quarterbacks the last 2 years. I mean, you got to feel for them. And, I mean, they seem like some great dedicated fans. So, like, I think the fan base deserves it. I'm not sure the front office and the owners deserve it, though.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think you could say the same thing about the Detroit Lions. But that's, you know, we're talking about the question, which fan base is most deserving, not the franchise, not the front office, any of that kind of stuff. I mean, I would say that the Tennessee Titans are a fan base that's up there, but I wouldn't say that they're even... I mean, I would say that they're top 10 just because you've got like the Patriots, the Steelers, the Cowboys, even, you know, 49. Like they've got so many championships, the Packers, like that. I don't think that their fan
My heart
base
does not break for them at all.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the Patriots and the Steelers. Now maybe I don't feel bad for the Cowboys fans at all. And it's honestly, the longer they go, the memes just get better. So let's keep it that way. But there is, you know, I think that I feel sorry for them for their delusion. Because every year they're like, we're going to win it all this year. First round exit out of the NFL playoffs. Brandon Ayuk or Calvin Ridley needs a bigger season, and then we'll play a little make or break here for 2023.
Oh, man. I think Calvin Ridley does. I mean, I think Ayuk, like, nobody's going to expect a huge season out of him just in that offense, the way Shanahan kind of is more of a scheme guy as opposed to, like, feeding a target outside of Deebo Samuel that 1 year, and there is a lot of talent there. But if Calvin Ridley can come back from his gambling hiatus with Trevor Lawrence and really explode, like, he can, establish himself as, you know, the receiver people thought he was going to be, and that could be huge for that Jaguars franchise. I mean, if they get a true, legit number one outside of Christian Kirk with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, that could be a really fun offense to watch and makes him a really nice dark horse in the AFC.
I think I want to agree with you on Calvin Ridley just because of the hiatus, the injuries, the suspension, all of that good stuff, and so there's a lot of great reasons there for Calvin Ridley, and he's going to be catching passes from Trevor Lawrence, which is definitely going to be advantageous for him. But for Brandon Ayuk, how many years now, 2, maybe 3, that we've been saying this is the guy when it comes to the wide receiving core for the San Francisco 49ers. You know, Deebo Samuel has done great receiving and rushing, wide back for Deebo Samuel there in the 49ers. But I think it's Brandon Ayuk because I could see a very real world where Calvin Ridley doesn't have a great year. He's still a Jaguar in 2024, depending on the contract and all of that good stuff fair. Without me having it up. Whereas Brandon Ayuk, if he doesn't live up to, 90% of the expectations that Kyle Shanahan has in place for him, not the media, but Kyle Shanahan, I see very strongly Ayuk's out of there because, I mean, why are we going to just keep playing this game with you, especially this year where it's paramount for the wide receivers to at least give their all because you don't know. Brock Purdy had a great year last year, but that doesn't mean it's going to translate to this year. Who knows how he's going to look with after the surgery and all that good stuff. Trey Lance has a lot of expectations around him, a lot of hype around him. However, hasn't proved anything, and didn't look great in his first game last year, and then gets, an injury, which, again, who knows? So if you're the wide receiver for the 49ers, you've got to be ready to go to bail your quarterback out this year.
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is that, like, even if Ayuk doesn't have the best year, they're still, they've still got George Kittle, they still got Debo, they still have Christian McCaffrey. So, like, I mean, luckily there's not a ton of pressure. Like, from the offense, there won't necessarily be a ton of pressure on him, but there is that media pressure. There is the contract coming up. There is a lot of things for him to perform, like you said, to Shanahan's expectations. That's what people always seem to forget. Is like, I can place whatever expectations I want on, but if Kyle Shanahan, who is the only guy that really matters, as long as he's making those things, like that's what matters at the end of the day. It has nothing to do with what fans or media, anybody else has to say about it.
All right, let's take a look at some of these other guys. I'm not going to start with who I have here at number 1, but these guys are going to have either a make or break season. We're not going to say what they need, but just do we think it's going to be a make season for them, like where they have a great season, or is it going to be a broken season for them? We'll start with Kirk Cousins, quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings.
Man, I think it's going to be a make season for him. I mean, I know they got rid of Cook, but I mean, bringing in Jordan Addison in the draft, already having arguably the best wide receiver in the league, and Justin Jefferson, like in that offense is relatively friendly. I think they're going to look great. I mean, whether it gets him any farther than what he has been already, that's the thing. But I don't think it's going to be a breaking season for him.
I like that. And I'm going to agree with you there, too, because I think, okay, yes, they lost Adam Thielen. All right, he's going to be the number one over there at the Panthers. However, you drafted Jordan Addison, so now Justin Jefferson everyone's going to be looking at Justin Jefferson, which could open up Jordan Addison. And then here's another thing. What was one of the biggest trades in the NFL last year? TJ Hawkinson going from the Lions to the Vikings. So that's another little security blanket for you.
Dwayne McBride from UAB, they drafted in the 7th round too. Sneaky.
There you go, man. So it's Madison and McBride, man. The Dolphins did offer Dalvin Cook. I don't know the details on it. The score didn't release that, but they did send Dalvin Cook an offer. So we'll see. I mean, you got the Jets. I don't know why the Jets would go after Dalvin Cook unless they didn't believe Breece Hall is going to bounce back from injury. But yeah, Dalvin Cook, he's been tied to the AFC East.
Yeah.
And so I feel very strongly he's going to the AFC East, but I don't think anywhere suits him as good as what Miami does. First off,
I'd be willing to bet it's not going to be New England. That just doesn't seem like a New England pairing. I don't know why, but
here's how I would see New England. If they got DeAndre Hopkins, and DeAndre Hopkins has any pool with Kraft or Belichick, which how in the world is he going to have any pool with Belichick? That doesn't even make any sense. But maybe Bill O'Brien. Mm-hmm. So now you're getting a great option for Mac Jones there, at least a vet in the wide receiver core. And then you bring in, of course, Ramondre Stevenson's going to be your number one. Dalvin Cook would be a great number 2 there. So I could see if Hopkins goes to the Patriots and they still have money to play with, I could see Cook there. However, I don't think that there is a better fit than the Miami Dolphins, though.
No, I agree. That'd be an explosive offense, too.
Well, just think about what Mike McDaniel can do with, he's already got 2 of his former backs when he was with San Francisco, and then you bring in Dalvin Cook as well, and I would say he's a little bit more of a power back than what the other 2 are, but they all have speed.
Yeah.
They all have agility.
Yeah, no, it'd be a great spot for him. And it's a homecoming of sorts for him as well.
Yeah. Let's go to Michael Thomas. Make or break season for him.
I think it's going to end up being a break season.
Which body part?
It's been his ankle for 6 years now. No, I mean, I just don't think you can miss as much time as he has. He's getting a little bit older also, so your body doesn't bounce back quite as well. He's not going to be the number 1 guy with Olave there. Maybe Carr is a step up from what they had last year, but I'm not convinced he can do it until he shows it to me. I mean, at this point, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Carr or Thomas there?
No, and Thomas.
Okay,
gotcha. Carr will be a step up, but I mean, we've been waiting for Thomas to bounce back for 3 years?
3 years. I would say at least. I think he played in 4 games last year, but very minimal. I'm right there with you. I'm going to say broken there. But however, for Derek Carr now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say I believe the Saints are the best team in the NFC South. I have no idea in which direction the NFC South is going to go next year, and it is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Interesting division, I think, to watch. It's going to be incredible.
I agree with that. I mean, there's some other. AFC East is going to be interesting if Russell Wilson is any better. The AFC West is going to be interesting. The AFC South is. I mean, the Texans and the Colts. Actually, the AFC South is going to be interesting because, are the Titans going to stay stagnant? Are they going to move in? But anyways, we're sticking here with Michael Thomas. Broken season for me, but Derek Carr is playing with the best defense that he's ever played for, so that could be interesting for the Saints. Baker Mayfield, make or break season for him. I'm going to say broken here again because I think it's going to be Kyle Trask come week 8, 9, or 10.
I mean, I agree. He's kind of been who he is. He wasn't kept by the Rams for a reason. He wasn't kept by the Panthers. He wasn't kept by the Browns. That at a certain point, he is who he is, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even doing as many commercials. Again, it's not football season right now, but we've got Travis on the line. Travis, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. What's up, buddy?
Hey, so I just kind of tuned in to and heard y'all talking about the NFC South, which happens to be my favorite team is on there.
Yeah, the Saints.
I wanted to ask y'all. Yeah. I wanted to ask you a question, though, and this is biased because I am a Saints fan, but how could anybody really say that the Saints are not the best team, at least on that?
In the NFC South? So I will say it like this. The Falcons, to me, proved last year that they didn't have the greatest roster, but then you add in Bijan Robinson. Like, Arthur Smith's got something going on there, and so I can't count them all the way out. The Panthers is going to be really determined by the growth that Frank Reich and Bryce Young have. The Saints, they are. I'll say that they're the front runner right now, but man, how many times do we pick a front runner and then by the time the season comes in, hey, listen, an injury to Andy Dalton, an injury to Derek Carr is like, it's going to be the same thing as last year. You know what I mean? Like, what additions have the New Orleans Saints made in your eyes that just like make, outside of the departures that every other team has suffered, what makes the Saints, like, what have they done outside of Derek Carr to be the best?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, they've had a defense forever, and even though it's getting old, they still have it. Mm-hmm. It's still there. It's fading, but it's got a couple more years, and so defense is handled. Offenses, we've been struggling with quarterbacks since Breeze decided he was going to retire. So, I mean, with the addition of Carr, and I know you said minus Carr, but with the addition of Carr, and I said it to begin with when I first got it in my ear that, he might go, I'm like, the Saints need to pick him up now. Yeah. Like, it's a right now kind of thing because, I mean, he knows the coach, he knows the scheme, he knows it all.
Absolutely. Hey, Travis, I hate to do this, my man, but we're up against a break. Give us a call give us a call Thursday, and we could talk a little bit more about this. And I do think right now I can say that the NFC South, the Saints are my favorite, but I think a lot of dominoes are left to be played here, and it is going to be interesting seeing Derek Carr with the best defense that he's played with in his career. Definitely give us a call back Thursday, Travis, or call us on the Inside Drive tomorrow. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got one segment left to go. Don't go anywhere.
ESPN Northwest Florida is on location at Dave & Buster's. The Afternoon Underdogs are broadcasting live at Dave & Buster's Pier Park with half-price cocktails, half-price games, free Dave & Buster's game cards, and choice swag from ESPN Northwest Florida. Join David, Kyle, Amanda, Drew, and a cast of sports fanatics every Wednesday from 4 to 6 with fun and prizes at Dave & Buster's Pier Park with ESPN Northwest Florida.
Gulf Coast Aquarium is now Gulf Coast Aquarium and Pet. They have a full line of live reptiles and reptile supplies, including the area's largest supplier of ZooMed products. ZooMed, a family-owned business with over 45 years of U.S.-based manufacturing. ZooMed is #1 in reptile products worldwide and is now available at Gulf Coast Aquarium and Pet, 469 Harrison Avenue, downtown Panama City.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. Keeps me coming back. Cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
Want to stay healthy as you grow older? Well, open up and say, dental health can have an impact on your overall health. It's been shown that poor oral health can cause or complicate medical issues such as coronary heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. As you age, it's important to maintain good oral health through brushing, flossing, and visiting the dentist on a regular basis. Ameritas Dental is committed to helping you stay healthy through its individual dental insurance plan options, which is available to everyone, including those over the age of 65. With Ameritas, you can visit the dentist of your choice and be eligible for 100% coverage of basic benefits on day one. In most circumstances, Ameritas' plans provide competitive coverage on exams, cleanings, fillings, crowns, implants, dentures, and so much more. What are your dental needs? Call Michael Denniston, 850-271-4389 today to find out which plan fits best for you.
It moves fast. The High School Spotlight. Weekdays at 5:40.
Let's do it.
Sponsored by Barbaritos. ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. It's the Afternoon Underdogs here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in the Forgotten Coast of Port St. Joe. And ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for the Atlanta Braves. Coverage starting tonight after the Afternoon Underdogs at 6 o'clock and first pitch tonight at 6:20. Regretfully, some news has broke here in the previous segment, and Tyler just brought this to my attention. But Ryan Mallett, if you guys remember, he was the quarterback there at Arkansas. Big, tall fella, got drafted by the Patriots. Always really thought that he was going to, be a dog in the NFL, but he was a decent backup quarterback. I think he was kind of like a journeyman, but I'd have to go back and look at all the teams he played for. He's reportedly passed away, according to Saturday Down South. Passed away today, drowning here at a Florida beach. He was just 35 years old. He was the head football coach at Whitehall High School in Arkansas. He joined the program as an assistant in 2020. He played for the Patriots, the Ravens, and the Texans there for 6 years in the league. So, you got to think about his family, his friends, and then all of his kids, the football team, man. If I could just say something, guys, you might be the best swimmer in the world, all of that good stuff, but you're not beating those waters. So if you see double red flags out there, just stay out of it. Save yourself $500 first and foremost, because I think that's the fine that they hit you with. There's a reason why. There's a reason why, because you're putting those first responders in a terrible situation where they're trained to save you, and they're gonna do that, but they could very well lose their life. How many times? I think over this last weekend we had 4 people drown right here in Panama City Beach, and on Father's Day, I think you had 2 dads who were out there swimming, they weren't just out there gallivanting around. They were trying to save their loved ones, and they ended up passing away by trying to save someone. And it's just, man, I get it. It's just water, but it's not. Especially those of you who live here and stuff like you. Right. We should be doing our responsibility. And if we see people, and do it in a nice manner, but just, hey, if you like breathing, if you like being alive, let's get out of that water. It's not because we don't think you can swim at all. That's not the case here. But the way that the water works, it'll
the undertow will get you. Yeah. And I was at the beach on Saturday, and one of the lifeguards was walking kind of in their area, and walking up to people and say, "Hey, just want to give you a heads up. We don't have a red flag today, but we have yellow flags." And they were pointing okay, well, and watch out right over here. You've got a current coming through and all that kind of stuff. So the warnings are there. I just think that people just either aren't seeing them or maybe ignoring them.
I think it's a lot of ignoring, because it's just it's almost like you tell people they can't do something that makes them want to do that.
Don't speed when then they speed. Yeah, just, you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, and you know how it is. All of us at one point in time were young, like that 18 to 24-year-old, where it's like, all right, well, this sounds like a challenge more than anything. But at the end of the day, your mom doesn't want to have to read in the paper or get a call from the Bay County Sheriff's Office that you were swimming and you got a little water in the lungs. It's just, and then I saw the aerial picture of what the rip currents did to the sand there, and it's just something you don't want to play with. So, out of respect for your family and everything, just stay out of the water when it's double red flags. That's your public service announcement from the Afternoon Underdogs. All right, let's get into our local segment. That is brought to you by Barbaritos. You can visit Barbaritos on 23rd Street. Tell them that the Underdogs sent you. Man, it's been a while since I've had me one of those burritos bowls. We used to get them all the time when we were over there off 23rd Street. Barbaritos, food, community, people. Arnold High School. So yesterday we talked about Lacey Glover, who's taken over there at Sneed's, who's on a 9-in-a-row championship run in the sport of volleyball. So Lacey Glover was replacing Heather Brinkmeyer, who, and it said in the article yesterday, she was moving to Panama City Beach. So in the back of my head, I'm thinking, like, is she going to Arnold? And she is. Heather Brinkmeyer is the new Marlins head volleyball coach. She led Sneads for 5 seasons, won 4 state titles in a row during that time frame. She took over the Pirates program from Sheila Roberts, who won 5 straight state championships, with Brinkmeyer winning 4 more, which set a state record for the most consecutive championships from any volleyball team ever in Florida, with 9. And, you know, Lacey Glover, who's taken over there at Snead, she just finished her run in college and all of that good stuff. I mean, the list of accolades for Lacey is so long. Her and her sisters were a part of basically all of these state title runs, which is insane. Very impressive. Brinkmeyer received several Coach of the Year awards for Class 1A volleyball during her time there at Snead. She joins Arnold, who was 11-16 last year, and they haven't been to the playoffs since 2019. So what a hire here from the Arnold Marlins. She's expected also to be on the Marlins softball coaching staff underneath head coach Rick Green. So that is some good stuff there. Way to go, Arnold, on a great hire. And then also still got to root for Sneads up there, and I'm sure Heather is as well, unless they play each other. But Lacey Glover, you know, a former player. I think everyone roots for former players at their alma maters, or even go to the professional world, former players who played for that franchise or for that team, and then they take over, or if they're there in any type of coaching capacity at all.
Well, especially a player who was successful, right? Like, I mean, if a guy who was on a 6-6 team, you know, in football was on, it's cool that he's coming back, but for somebody who was, won state championships to come back, like that just makes it so much more awesome.
Right. 100%. All right, we've got 59 days until week 0. So a little college football action here. Very wild that me and Tyler, who, like, this is our shtick on Tuesdays, is talking college football, but it's wild. We're waiting to the final segment, but we did talk a lot of college
football with Elliot. That was a great segment. I'm glad he can make it on today.
Yes, no doubt. Hopefully he can follow through with us and get on with us once or twice a week and talk about a little bit about UAB and just what else he's seeing in the world of college football. But we could take a look here at the Pac-12. I don't have like a whole lot on them. In fact, when I was doing the research, I'm like, I could care less about this. I'm being honest, like just trying to be transparent. But it is one of those things. I guess one of the biggest things is like, what is the Pac-12 going to be after USC and UCLA go to the Big 12 or to the Big 10 next year? Like Oklahoma and Texas, they're going to the SEC next year, but I feel like the Pac-12 is worse off losing USC predominantly, but also UCLA, than what the Big 12 is. And this is wild. I feel like this is a hot take because Oklahoma and Texas are the Big 12. They are. But following next year, you're adding 4 more teams this year, and UCF, BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati. And those are, schools that are ready there to make the next step. What is the Pac-12 doing outside of maybe San Diego State's out there in the rumor mill, but they could just as easy go to the Big 12. Colorado could leave, come back to the Big 12. I mean, it could be wild. The Pac-12 is just not a fascinating conference.
I think part of the problem, especially for us on the East Coast, is, Pac after dark. Like, not a lot of people are going to stay up till 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock watching.
It might be one of my favorite parts of Saturday night, though.
For a lot of people, but for the average fan. There's a lot of people who just don't care about Pac after dark and watching Washington State versus Arizona State at 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, personally, I love it.
Yeah.
But the average fan, so the Big 12 is in a better spot because of the time zone they play in and the times of day they play. They're much more likely to play at 11 or noon. And I think that's a big reason why you're kind of feeling the way you are about the Big 12, even though if you're looking at the teams like Oregon and Washington are still probably the best team, the 2 best teams between eventually you're probably right. But I think if we're talking for 2024, they're the 2 best teams among both those conferences.
Absolutely.
So, but they won't get quite the respect that maybe the Big 12 will, even though they're both losing some premier teams.
And I think that you're right, though, when you're talking about Pac after dark and stuff, and then you look at the Big 12, and they're right here in our time zone, but they also put on some very entertaining games. So does the Pac-12. So does the Pac-12, but you'll get a lot of those very lopsided games, whereas in the Big 12, I feel like most of the time, it might be more entertaining to a degree than the Big 10 and the SEC when it comes to just those schools playing against each other.
They've been a fairly competitive conference the last couple of years. It's been a lot of fun. You never kind of know what's going to happen.
Well, they made me look idiotic when it came to bowl season. Remember, because I was high on them. I was like, man, look, I think the Big 12 is going to have a great bowl season. And they came in and just looked like had one of the worst bowl seasons of all the conferences. So I do have a little tiff with them, if I'm being honest. But no, I am excited about. I'm excited for the Big 12 with these 4 new teams. Like, I want to see BYU. Really what I want to see is UCF and Cincinnati just flip that conference on its head. Now, I want to see Tennessee and Oklahoma win at least 7 to 8 games. For Oklahoma, I want to see 8-4. For Texas, I want to see 9-3, 10-2, because it just bodes well for the SEC for 2024, especially the way that schedule is set up. But I want to see UCF and Cincinnati just flip the Big 12 on its head and just let that be the title game next year. UCF and Cincinnati, dude, that would be wild. Which chemistry experiment clicks first, Arizona State's or Colorado's? You've got 80 transfers between Colorado and Arizona State this offseason.
I mean, I'm going to have to bank with Prime. I mean, I'm still not sold on him as a surefire great D1 coach, but his experience is going to be better than what Coach Dillingham's bringing to Arizona State, which he is an alum, which will help with some of that, because we were just talking about alums coming back to where they're at. But right now, you got to give the experience to Dion, and I think he's got an edge going into it. And he's brought some of his players with him, the quarterback, Travis Hunter. His other son plays defense. So I think he's got a bit of
Shiloh.
He's got a bit of a step up on Dillingham.
Dog. Wasn't there a dog? No.
Yeah, Shiloh.
Shiloh. Yeah, and then it was like off rip. It made me. Yeah. Then off rip made me think of Wishbone. Did you remember? Wishbone. Yeah. All right. Anyways, enough of that. For me, I want to say Colorado as well, because they already kind of, some of the transfers have already been together, so there's that. But also, I'm interested in what Kenny Dillingham's going to do with Arizona State. We're talking about an offensive coordinator who's done some pretty good things, but he's only 33 years old.
Yeah, he's had a huge rise in his career.
And he's got to clean up that mess from and I don't think it was Herm Edwards' fault, but he's got to clean up that mess that was left before him. But that's going to do it for us today. Tyler, as always, on Tuesdays, man, it is just a ton of fun. Tomorrow, we're going to be out there at Dave & Buster's. Would love to see you guys come out there and find us and win yourself a $10 Power Play card from Dave & Buster's. The Coach James Hale Show will be live from 7 to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then the Afternoon Underdogs will wrap up your afternoon from 4 to 6 out there at Dave & Buster's. Your Atlanta Braves are up next. It's time for the ball game.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents The Blast at Bay Point. Listen to Win Your Tea Time at the legendary Bay Point Golf Club in beautiful Panama City Beach.
You ready to play some high-low?
I'm going to try.